Hi everyone, Sandman here. So Shopenhauer is basically saying what most of us already know, that women's youth and beauty are there to capture the imagination of a man so that he can fall in love with them and thus become the provider for the rest of his life. This was true in the 19th century, but once the state began to cater to the desires of women, it was no longer about men directly supporting women with their wages, but instead taxes were levied on men as well to take care of other women as well. A good beta male provider might support his wife and children, but his taxes are additionally used to take care of other women. So in many cases, taxes are levied to support the burden of single mothers. So it can be said that most working men are providing for more than one woman through our taxation system. He is of course describing the 19th century world, where women didn't work. Men in general think more than a few steps ahead, and now that we have government debts in most Western nations that are unserviceable, we have no one to blame but the short-sighted politicians in power that are elected by short-sighted ladies that demand more social programs and goodies from the government each year. Detroit is a great example of such short-sightedness because now pensioners are going to lose 80 to 85% of their pension money. There won't be much money left over except for basic food and energy use. Women tend to vote or elect social governments that mortgage our futures away to unscrupulous bankers. Where I don't tend to agree with Shopenhauer is when he says that women show more sympathy for the unfortunate than men do, and so treat them with more kindness and interest. While it's true that women give more money in the form of charity to the poor and needy, I don't think that he's right with his word sympathy. I believe that sympathy violates Briefolt's law, and I instead believe that if a woman appears sympathetic, her motives are more about approval and attention than genuine altruism. Throughout most of history, food was scarce, so the selfish woman survived and lived to breed for another day. It's a genetic advantage. But today, that same selfish gene that made humans the most successful species on the planet is destroying the very ecology that gave rise to it in the first place. In the meantime, I'll read the last paragraph from his work and end it on that note. In almost every nation, both of the New and Old World, and even among the Hottentots, property is inherited by the male descendants alone. It is only in Europe that one has departed from this system, that the property which men have difficulty acquiring by long continued struggling and work should afterwards come into the hands of women, who in their want of reason either squander it within a short time or otherwise waste it, is not an injustice as great as it is common, and it should be prevented by limiting the right of women to inherit. It seems to me that it would be a better arrangement if women by their widows or daughters only inherited the money for life secured by mortgage, but not the property itself or the capital, unless there lacked male descendants. It is men who make the money, and not women. Therefore women are neither justified in having unconditional possession of it, nor capable of administering it. Women should never have the free disposition of wealth, strictly so called, which they may inherit, such as capital, houses, and estates. They need a guardian always. Therefore they should not have the guardianship of their children under any circumstances whatever. and we have much to learn from him. That woman is by nature intended to obey is shown by the fact that every woman who is placed in the unnatural position of absolute independence at once attaches herself to some kind of man, by whom she is controlled and governed. Please take into consideration that this text was written over 100 years ago, and that the values between men and women have obviously changed. And we have much to learn from him.